What's up guys, this is Dan, Vivid Racing, and today we are going to do some awesome mods on this 2018 Porsche 991.2 Turbo S. This beautiful blue Porsche features over 580 horsepower stock, and once we're done with it today, it should be a lot more. The car's going to get treatment from us with a VR Tuned ECU flash, as well as an Akrapovic full exhaust system. So the first thing we're going to do today is we're going to baseline the car and see what it makes stock. So let's check it out. All right, we just finished our baseline tests and we ran the car both in Sport Plus as well as Standard. Anytime you run the car in Sport, you're actually getting a little bit more boost out of it to get the extra performance that the VTG turbos deliver. So runs about 19 PSI, where the Standard runs about 16 PSI. Now, when you run Sport consistently, the car is going to start pulling back timing because of the EGT temperatures increasing. So we've got both runs here to show you so we can compare. All right, here you can see the solid line is our Standard, just makes slightly a little less torque and horsepower at the top. You can see with that boost when it kicks in, that's where you get the increase. Pretty consistent overall through the curve. You can see our peak horsepower is around 465 and peak torque around 539. Of course, these tests are done on a Mustang all-wheel drive dyno here with 91 octane. Here in Arizona, it's about 100 degrees Fahrenheit outside. So typically we see about a 20 to 25% drivetrain loss compared to the factory numbers, which are around 580 at the crank. All right, now the baseline is done. We're gonna pull the ECU out so we can do the tune. Now in all these 991.2 turbos, Carreras, 718 Boxer Caymans, etc., the ECUs are an SDI 21. So you have to pull them out, unlock them, and then you can flash through the port. So we're gonna pull this thing out and get the ECU flash done. All right, we got the ECU plugged back in, so we're ready to do our dyno test runs. We're gonna do 3 runs so we can compare it back to back with our baselines, see how it does. So once we finish the dyno runs here with the tune, we're gonna pull the car over and do the Akrapovic exhaust on the lift, and then we'll run that and see how much power that has added. All right, we just finished our tuning here on the 991.2 Turbo S. Got some really good results to show, so let's check those out. You can see here we have a baseline run of 467 all-wheel horsepower and 538 foot-pounds of torque. Again, this is a Mustang all-wheel drive dyno running 91 octane, and we are here in Arizona with right now about a temperature of 100 to 105 degrees Fahrenheit. So we typically have a 20 to 25% drivetrain loss, which puts the 580 crank horsepower rating pretty spot on. So you can see here we've got the solid line is our tuned run, and our dotted line is the baseline run. So here we have a huge torque increase, 667 foot-pounds of torque compared to stock, which is right around just under 530. So that's a big difference right there, almost 120 foot-pounds of torque gain. horsepower and all that usable range here. We've got shooting up here at around 4,000 RPMs, 520 all-wheel horsepower. And at that same place, we've got the stock running at about 406. So right there, we've got 120 horsepower gain. And we finally have a peak horsepower here of about 540. At the same point, that is roughly 465. So 465, 540, you know, still huge gains. You can see the final gains here, 541, 667 versus 467 and 538. So next up, we're going to install the Akrapovic exhaust and then test the car again on the dyno to see what type of gains we get. The Akrapovic exhaust is on. This thing is amazing. Check out the quality of the carbon fiber diffuser. This is the titanium version, so this thing is extremely lightweight. We've got the high flow cats on here as well. Let's listen how the exhaust sounds. Now that it's all installed, we'll rev it up here. Now we're going to strap it on the dyno and get some runs to see how this thing performs. We just finished doing the test with the Akrapovic exhaust on the 991.2 Turbo S, and the exhaust definitely helps smooth out the power curve with the high flow cats and less restrictive exhaust system. So let's check out what the dyno sheet looks like. You can see here we have our torque number. So our peak torque is up here, almost 600 foot-pounds of torque. And our peak horsepower number over here is just over 540. When we compare that to the stock number, we have about an 80 wheel horsepower gain. That's all wheel horsepower on the Mustang dyno, and almost 100 foot-pounds of torque over stock. So you can see the curve is pretty smooth throughout this whole range. We're losing some airflow up top. It is also about almost 110 degrees today, so the car is struggling as we get up to the top end, but you can see the curve is similar to the stock, so we're running pretty well. If we were to rerun this car in, say, October, we'd probably see another 20-30 horsepower and this top end gain all the way through. So overall, the Akrapovic exhaust sounds amazing. The tune and the exhaust worked out really well, giving this thing a big difference in power. So we'll get it unstrapped, pull it out. All right, that's a wrap for this Porsche. Got it all tuned, got the Akrapovic exhaust on. Great power, great gain. So if you want to see more about these parts and these ECU tuning, check out vividracing.com. Make sure you subscribe. And if you have any questions, leave a comment. Thanks. See you at the next one.